And we are live. So once again, hello to everybody. This is Mattia from the Blockchain Top International staff, and I'm here to introduce you a session of Ask Me Anything with top management of Platin.io, the new ICO which we selected for our subscribers. Here with us, there are Mr. Allon Mason, the CEO of Platin, and Dr. Lionel Wolberger, the CTO of the company. First of all, I would like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves and the project to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the BCT team for enabling this very interesting webinar and giving us a chance to get exposed and to talk and have some questions from the audience. My name is Allon Mason. Here with us is Dr. Lionel Wolberger and Heinz Peterson, one of our partners and investors. We are based in Tel Aviv. We're a proof of location blockchain that is developing a very interesting new technology that allows for secure proof of location capabilities on top of the blockchain in an incentivized manner. We'll be happy to answer questions in detail. We understand that some of you had a chance to read our website and our white paper, which was kindly translated into Italian by the BCT group. So that's just a few words. We welcome everyone. And
sure, I'm Lionel Wolberger, also very pleased to be here. One of our favorite things to do is to talk about Platin, about proof of location, and about the whole blockchain revolution. So we look forward to a very good conversation.
Thank you to Mr. Allon and Lionel. And now we can start submitting your questions into the chat if you would like. We also have some requests which we have received in the past couple of days through our forum and Telegram chat. Meanwhile, all of you can send additional questions through the chat in this page or through the Italian official Telegram chat. You can easily type in Italian if you would like, and we're going to translate everything for you into English so we can begin. So first question that we have is on our technical side. While on the website, there is a clear mention of DAGs to improve latency and scalability. In the white paper, the Platin Plexus blockchain is merely described as an Ethereum fork. How will you implement a DAG network on top of the Platin Plexus, and will it be described in the white paper?
Go ahead, Lionel.
The actual blockchain implementation will develop over time. We have investigated DAG technologies, and we found that they were not suited for our go-to-market. So that's why the white paper talks about Ethereum and an Ethereum fork. Platin is a proof of location protocol, so it actually is not dependent on the blockchain technology underneath. The Platin team will use the blockchain that is best suited to the requirements of Platin, which are that it be suited to the mobile devices which will be participating in doing the proof of location. So the go-to-market is Ethereum, and Ethereum as an anchor, and then a fork of Ethereum. And then research will be ongoing to select the best blockchain technology to support this platform.
Now, I'll just add to that we are investigating continuously the DAG-based solutions, and we are looking most closely and most seriously right now as Ethereum as a fork. And we're going to discuss that if we get to our presentation later on during this AMA session. We did find some characteristics of the directed acyclic graph, the DAG-based solution, that is quite compelling in terms of scalability and capabilities. So we are currently, the decision that we have is to be an Ethereum fork, and the website will be updated soon to reflect that decision.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. The next question is going to be in the white paper and the website. There is no mention about the dev team, which is behind this project. Are there a number of people already, or there will be more of them after the ICO conclusion?
So that's a good question. If you scroll down on the website to the team section, you will find a few names who are part of our development team. So we have Mikhailo Tutin, who's our lead blockchain architect. We have, first of all, Dr. Lionel Wolberger, who's our CTO and is leading the development team. We have Alexander Zalizniak. He is a full-stack architect who's part of the dev team, the core team. And we have a few other members who don't appear on the website, but they're going to be added in in the coming days. So the development team that you do see on the website are the core leaders of the Platin team, and more will be added in the coming days.
Perfect. Next question. The aim to reach a POL, or proof of location, which is resistant to spoofing, had been a technological target since many years. I believe that you made extensive tests on your technology. Which is the percentage of certainty which will you guarantee for your POL?
So we agree, we know better than anyone that proof of location is actually quite difficult problem. In my previous work in Cisco Secure Video, we had to do proximity-based security for China, and it was a very difficult cryptographic problem. Since then, with the revolution of incentivization that is possible with a cryptocurrency like the Platin Utility Token, as well with new innovations in proximity radio security, we feel that the time is right now for a more robust and secure proof of location that can be available for any user. Now, the platform will offer grades of assurance. So the simplest level, we call them PALs, Platin algorithms, which is a very friendly word, and it shows how Platin is meant to be developer friendly and fun to use and interesting, on which businesses can build their business models. So you can select a PAL that has a low assurance, just a GPS declaration, or you could choose a PAL which has a very high assurance, which would be based on the 3 security pillars of Platin. This might be a good moment to point out that we have on our team very experienced security personnel. Besides myself, it is a privilege that we are working with Dr. Sergeant Kapkin, who is the world's leader in location and proximity security. He has founded several startups in this field, and we are his latest venture. He is our advisor, and so the high assurance PALs will be truly secure and will be able to have strong service level agreements around them.
Perfect. Next question. As a follow-up question, could you maybe explain to us in some simple words for us who are not technicians, how does the POL system as in proof of location system will work in your system? Perhaps with some practical examples. Maybe you would like to show some slides or something like that. Maybe you have something to show.
Sure. We're going to open our presentation and transition to some slides. So do we want to go through all of them?
Yeah, just slide.
Okay.
Tell the story.
So we're going to start out with an overview of the Platin proof of location and just ask an initial question. So let's ask, when you see this QR code, can everyone see the presentation, by the way?
Yeah, we can see it.
So this is a QR code, and if I ask you what it represents, you would probably have to take your phone and scan it, and not a lot of people actually know what's behind this. But if I show you the value of that, which is right there, some people will know, oh wait, that's actually a Bitcoin address, which is great. But not a lot of people understand that. What a lot of people really do understand is Pikachu, right? It's taking a digital character and representing that digital character in the real world. And a lot of people really very useful thing. And here we see an image of actually thousands or even tens of thousands of people out in the streets trying to catch this Pikachu. They understood it, from children to adults. Everybody understood what it means to interact through augmented reality with a digital character. And so while a lot of people understand Pikachu, more people understand money. Almost everybody understands money. It's money that we have in our wallets. And this is the money that we understand, right? This is cash. You know, we all recognize it. But this is also money. So why doesn't the world understand Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in the same way? So part of what Platin's trying to do, and part of what we are doing, is making cryptocurrencies real, making digital assets real. So how do we do that? If we can send money to location using augmented reality, you can interact with it. If you go to our Twitter channel, you'll be able to see some different cryptocurrencies that we've placed around the world. through augmented reality, people interacting with it. And I actually show a video on our Twitter, so I encourage you to visit that. But imagine you're walking on the street and you happen to get a notification on your phone that there is a digital asset, maybe some Bitcoin Cash, maybe some Starbucks coin on the street, and you approach it, you touch it with your phone, you claim it, and now it's yours. And then you could go onto the map view through the Platin Pocket application and see different types of digital assets or other currencies scattered around your local neighborhood. So again, that's what Platin does. We make proof of location based digital assets in the real world, and we make it real. So that's Platin. And I'll quickly present again Dr. Wolberger, who's here. He's our CTO. Myself, I'm the CEO of Platin. And we have Sergeant Kapkin, who's our chief scientist on secure location, our chief advisor on secure location. And Platin is his third startup, and he's the world-renowned expert on secure location technologies and proximity as well. So we are the core team of Platin, and the rest of our team is based primarily in Israel. We have some academic partnerships with the Technion, ETH Zurich, and HKUST. So Platin is basically a consensus-driven cryptocurrency that's creating a token economy for everyone, with emphasis on everyone. We want everyone from children to adults to be able to interact with a cryptocurrency in a way that's natural to them, in the same way that people were interacting with Pokemon Go. So you don't have to know about cold storage, about block sizes, about details of cryptographic capabilities of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You just need to understand how it looks like and interact with it as if you would interact with cash. So we're going to talk about the two primary layers of Platin, and I think this is where we're going to get into answering how proof of location is established in a secure way on top of the Platin protocol. So it's first important to understand that Platin is creating a protocol layer that exposes APIs that allows any developer, company, or organization to create their own applications on top of the secure location Platin protocol. And what I like to do is to take a look of possible hundreds or thousands of different applications that are location-based services that require secure location that can be built on top of Platin. We're going to take a look at 7. So we're going to run through this pretty quickly, but the 7, we'll start with the ability to send money to location, to send any cryptocurrency to location. And this is what that would look like. If we were in the same room, I'd be able to show this to you using our augmented reality Platin Pocket application.
Yeah, this is important. The image you're seeing, these coins would be visible through the typical smartphone.
And it's a really cool way to interact. So I remember actually trying to explain to my mom what Bitcoin is. And after a half an hour explanation, she said, "I'm sorry, I just don't understand what it is." And then I took out the Platin Pocket application. I put some Bitcoin in the room next to her on the table, and it all of a sudden clicked. All of a sudden she understood what it is we're doing, what it is that we're talking about. Yep. Another one is the ability to do KYC, or two-factor authentication. So as you know, KYC is a process whereby financial institutions look to verify a person's identity. But with KYC, you could also verify a person's location. And that's important for various financial institutions who can give or required to give services only in a specific country or a specific region. And we see that with various types of banks around the world. And with two-factor authentication, it's, as you know, something that you know and something you have, but you could actually do a three-factor authentication. That's somewhere you are. So if you, for example, want to reset your password for your bank account, let's say UBS, and they know that you live at a certain address and you work at another address, they can actually require your request from you, a proof of location, to know that you're not a hacker from China or from Russia, but some at your actual location, to provide that added level of security. Another use case is the ability to generate real foot traffic. So imagine Starbucks creating their STB coin on top of the Platin protocol. And that bubble that you see around the coin is a policy, and you can define different types of behaviors for that policy. So that policy for the Starbucks coin can dictate that while Starbucks has very low traffic, let's say between 2 and 5 p.m., so Starbucks can decide that that policy trickles out the STB coin at a certain rate between 2 and 5 p.m., encouraging more people to come there and to collect the Starbucks coin and to use that for coffee or to buy a sandwich. And in this way, they can actually even out the graphic traffic to their business.
And this is a good point to remind people that it's a Starbucks coin or Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. It's any digital asset because the protocol, which works on the Platin coin and the Platin token, can support any digital asset in its location claim.
Right. So Platin is actually the gas to fuel location-based located digital assets. Another use case is the ability to geofence a currency. So I gave this presentation in Hong Kong, so I use the Hong Kong map here. And you could define that a specific coin, when you use it within the confines of the Hong Kong border, you pay a specific tax rate. But if you cross the border over to Shenzhen, China, you all of a sudden have a different tax rate that you're exposed to. So you could change the fungibility, you could change you can really program the way that the coin functions depending on where the user is.
Limit speculation with the coin.
Another one is to create humanitarian airdrops. And so in our Platin Pocket application, we provide a menu of different regions around the world where that were hit by natural disaster. It could be a hurricane or a flood. And you could decide that you want to send money to a specific location where people need help, even if it's $10 or $20 that you want to donate. And this way you can disintermediate large aid organizations and governments. So if you don't want to donate through the Red Cross, it takes them time to get money to the people. Sometimes not all of the money arrives to the people in need. You could decide that you're going to airdrop some money at a specific location, and the people there will be able to interact with it, to take it, and then to use it to buy clothing material, building supplies, food, and so on.
This is one that we are particularly excited about because it's a chance to really give benefit directly to people. And you could literally just put it on a street or in an area or in a church in some target location, and anyone there who has an ordinary smartphone and installs the application can see the coins and pick them up.
And we think that from a PR perspective, it's very powerful. We actually think that in about a year, you're going to open up CNN and you're going to hear the CNN news anchor say, there's money on the streets. Go out there, there's money on the streets. Take your phone, pick it up. This money is helping people in need. So it's a very powerful scenario that we believe in very firmly. Another use case that we've been discussing quite a bit, actually, we've just spent 2.5 months in Japan as part of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Accelerator for blockchain innovation. We've discussed the potential of employee tracking with several companies there. They're quite interested in this technology and this capability. And one of them has to do with a pipeline infrastructure company who has meter reader technicians who have to go to about 20 different locations a day and confirm the meter level reading on different meters. And they're experiencing some location spoofing where their technicians don't go to 20 places, they maybe do half, and they claim that they went to the other 10 locations. And the companies are actually suffering from issues of technicians spoofing their location. So using the Platin proof of location, secure location capabilities, we're able to provide a high level of assurance for location claim. Another one is the ability to track assets, and we're in talks with several supply chain companies in the Far East, and there are quite a bit of very interesting capabilities and use cases around asset tracking and proof of location that will be enabled on our protocol. So those are 7 use cases, and those are just a few of hundreds or thousands of different applications that can be built on top of the Platin protocol. But now I think we're getting to the point where we're answering the question. So what is the Platin protocol consists of? What is it built of? So let me start by saying that when you look at how location is done today, it's done almost primarily, almost exclusively through a technology we all know called Global Positioning System,
Right.
GPS. The problem with GPS is that if you search in the App Store for fake GPS, you can find apps to fake your GPS. It's very simple to do that. GPS is not sufficiently secure. And these are maybe just 5 apps, but if you scroll down, you'll see there are hundreds of different fake GPS spoofing apps. And this is a real concern for industry. This is a real concern for enterprises. So we don't rely on GPS, and actually Platin can figure out what your location is without GPS at all. Our technology is called sensor fusion, and this is the first pillar of the Platin protocol. We look at all of the sensors on the phone. You'd be amazed at how powerful these computers are. Every one of us carries one of these in our pockets. And sensor fusion means that we fuse data from different types of sensors, and we read different types of signals that your phone provides. And they could be GSM,
Right.
LTE, cell tower, Wi-Fi, IP,
Bluetooth.
radio, Bluetooth, accelerometer, audio, video, and so on. There are dozens of sensors. We tap into all of them, and we can actually eliminate a single point of failure known as GPS. But that is really secure. We don't stop there. The next pillar is behavior over time. And what we are looking for is natural fluid movement of a node's behavior. And so you can query 5 days back, 10 days back, 30 days back. And what we want to see is that nodes aren't teleporting themselves from one location. Let's say they're in Tel Aviv right now, and 3 minutes later they're in Rome. Not very possible. So we are looking for fluid movement, and we have artificial intelligence and anomaly detection baked into the Platin protocol. And we also look at different modes of transport, and we have some very, very interesting work that we're doing with the Technion in Israel.
By the way, if you're not familiar, the Technion is a world-leading university on the level of Harvard, MIT, Stanford. It's in the top 10.
So we are integrating some of the research that we're doing at the Technion, and as well with the Xain, X-A-I-N. If you go to xain.io, that's a company that does extensible AI network technology on the blockchain. And so we're working with them also on our AI. It's quite interesting what we're integrating into our protocol. And the third pillar is peer-to-peer witnessing, and we're actually going to talk about the peer-to-peer witnessing as an incentivized capability on top of the Platin protocol. So those are the 2 primary things that are important to understand about Platin. We're a protocol layer, and we're an app layer. Now the presentation can continue, but I'd like to maybe take a couple minutes to maybe field some questions from the audience. So if you have any questions right now, we can take some questions.
Let me just jump in. So those are the 2 important aspects, that there's applications and a protocol. And we shared that with you as an answer to that question of how does it work. I just want to really drive home that there are 3, because that's what you need to make it secure, robust, and industrially scalable. This is a serious infrastructure that will be used by industry. We can't even predict all the uses that will come of it. So I hope that answered the question and helped people to understand what we're building here.
You did. It actually explained it quite a lot. We actually got a question from one of our users in the chat. He's asking, hi, Platin, is it going to work on the USA GPS, or is it going to also work on Galileo and GLONASS, or anything else, or any new kind of?
It's a very good question. We were very excited. Dr. Sergeant Kapkin actually visited with the Galileo team just last month. So we have a front row seat to the new secure GPS deployments that are happening. They're very exciting. GPS is an incredibly enabling technology, and now, as you are pointing out, many different nations are rolling out their own in case we reach an international situation where one nation doesn't wish to trust another nation's satellites. Platin will always use GPS, and if GPS can become more secure, we will use it. And that's a critical insight into Platin. If I may just really make it clear. Number one, Dr. Kapkin literally was with the space agency. He touched
European
the satellite.
Space Agency.
Yes. And our team has long experience on these standards bodies and these security protocols and standards that sit behind these things. And number two, that Platin has this idea of levels, that it will always have a simple PAL, really cheap one for very little gas, where you just get a location declaration, or it'll have more complex PALs that rely on all the three pillars: secure GPS coming from the sky, and secure witnessing, and artificial intelligence analysis.
A follow-up question. What are the main differences between your approach to POL, as in proof of location, and the other players, as in foam and XYO? What are the main differences?
So first of all, we are very excited to have a dynamic space with different people working on location. The main difference is that Platin is a generic protocol that can secure any digital asset. Most of the other players, and you mentioned two, there are others that are even less serious, who just rely on a GPS declaration from the phone in order to enable a kind of location of a token, like a Pokemon Go kind of game. Platin is the only solution that is truly secure. These other competitors do not have real security on their teams. And it is the only solution that can be encumbered to any private key. That might be a little too technical, but what I'm trying to say by that is, when we say we want to make cash real, we quickly understood that this is a generic problem, that what we want to do is take any digital asset. It can also be a document, it can be a PDF, it can be a loyalty token from a store. Any digital asset that has a private key can be tied to a location claim. So the answer is, Platin is a general infrastructure. It is a protocol. Whereas if you look closely at these other players, and again, we welcome working with them because all of these can fit together in an ecosystem. These other players are dedicated to kind of Ethereum smart contract and Oracle declarations of particular kinds of secure beacons.
So I'd like to add to that just another important thing that will help the listeners distinguish between our solution and these two other, XYO and Foam. So for Foam, they're basing their technology on LoRa beacons, and XYO is basing their technology on Bluetooth beacons. Now, if they want to have proof of location capabilities in specific locations that haven't rolled out their infrastructure yet, they won't be able to do that because they require an infrastructure, hardware-based infrastructure rollout for their system to work. Whereas with Platin, we use existing infrastructure, and this is what we use. We use sensors that are on most of our smartphones, and people have this around the world. If we want to launch tomorrow in northern Italy, in Sicily, in south of Argentina, we could do it immediately because the infrastructure already exists, and we're working with existing infrastructure. And we think that's a major differentiator between the Platin proof of location solution and Foam and XYO.
Thank you for that elaborate answer. I just want to remind our viewers that they can ask any question they would like, even in Italian or English. Both languages work. We're going to translate everything to English. In the meantime, you can maybe carry on with your presentation with some slides if you still have some.
So in the next part, we'd like to show some more details. Take it away.
So I'd like to say a few words about mining on mobile and what this works. So part of the Platin vision is actually quite exciting. It democratizes the ability for anyone with a smartphone to participate in the Platin ecosystem. If you wanted to start mining Bitcoin, it would be quite difficult for you to do that you would need to invest millions of dollars in ASICs. You would need, first of all, to be very tech savvy. You would need to have access to cheap electricity, and you would probably need some real estate where to house all of your ASICs. And even then, there's no guarantee that your capabilities are going to be strong enough to compete with other miners. So we want to democratize mining and have everyone with this computer participate in our ecosystem. And there's two ways that happens. We're going to talk about exactly how that works. The two ways for mining in Platin, first one is signal harvesting. So we're actually flooded with signals around us. We have Bluetooth and radio signals. We have Wi-Fi and cell tower signals all around us. Now, these signals are ever changing. And we want to know where the signals are at any given point in time. And for every signal that you read, we want to know what the signal strength is. And so when you walk around with a Platin Pocket application, in the background, you're actually reading and contributing signal data from around the world to the Platin decentralized database of signals that allows you to share what you see with the rest of the world. And in harvesting the signals around you, you earn passively Platin tokens. So you get awarded for your signal harvesting or mining. The second one, actually have an image of a map here of Hong Kong, and each one of these dots represents a Wi-Fi router, and there are millions of these around the world. And when you report which signals you see, you get awarded in Platin coin. The second one has to do with peer witnessing. So imagine, for example, the scenario where, let's say North Face, the clothing company, they want to create a promotion and they say, we're putting 10 Bitcoin or some large amount on top of, I don't know, Mount Kilimanjaro. And they say the first person to reach the Mount Kilimanjaro can get this 10 Bitcoin reward. But the policy around that airdrop states that there are 4 witnesses required to witness John up there, to witness his cell phone. And this is in addition to sensor fusion and in addition to behavior over time.
Yes, this is a good moment to point out that, remember, there were 3 security pillars. And this is needed in addition to the other 2, because here's where you introduce unexpected signals. Somebody who's trying to cheat or fraud the system cannot predict what other witnesses might be around.
So we use secure beacons to help witness or other nodes, other participating nodes within the Platin ecosystem, within the proof of location ecosystem, to provide witnessing capabilities. And each witness has their own trust score. So witnesses with higher trust score are going to be selected by the network over witnesses with a low trust score. And those witnesses earn Platin. So that's another way where how mining works on Platin. And we actually show an example. We're not going to run this video right now, but we show an example where one of our developers created a PAL that uses both 2 QR codes, a confirmation from the QR codes, and an Alexa device to communicate verbally and get a confirmation and create an asset transfer on the Ethereum network. And so,
the passion of our team, the passion behind Platin is to put location and cryptocurrency in the hands of ordinary people and to empower the developers. And the big smile that you see here on this developer's face is important to us because we defined this architecture of PALs. And I'm telling you, the brief that this developer got was, you use a PAL, use a GPS claim, use a Bluetooth claim, use a near field claim. They went to work and they came back and said, well, we decided to make a PAL based on Alexa because Alexa could be in the neighborhood. And we used a QR code. These were unexpected, and that's the beauty and what I'm trying to really state is that's what makes our day.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the protocol, because when you expose a protocol, the way that different companies and individuals and organizations use it is going to blow our mind, it's going to blow your mind. And so we're really excited what we're about to see from the developer community.
Okay.
We're actually getting to something quite exciting, zero knowledge. So I'm going to let Lionel present this. We have zero knowledge baked into our protocol, and Lionel, take it away.
Again, when we deal with location, we're dealing with very sensitive information. It's where you're located. So it's important for us from the very beginning to do this in a privacy-preserving way. It is not acceptable to us that Platin will become available to the world and suddenly everybody will be tracked and their location will be given away. And it is also not acceptable to do some simplistic kind of hiding like, oh, we don't know your location, we just know the location of your ID, because we all know that that can be broken too. So with the experience of our team, and we're lucky to have I personally have the privilege of working directly with Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the internet. I've worked closely for many years with Dr. Adi Shamir, who invented TLS, which is how everybody's browser today encrypts and protects information. He was the cryptographer who was behind Cisco Secure Video, where I worked for many years. I work every week with one of the authors of the SSL protocol. So I've had a front seat at how to really do privacy, and I care about privacy. So I'm just going to take one moment to share what can be a very technical subject, but to really make it clear. And the way to understand zero knowledge is the children's game, Where's Waldo? I have here a book. I don't know if you can see the video. It's a children's book, Where's Waldo? It's translated into every language. What's it called in Italian? Perhaps you know. And on every page, there's thousands of people, and you have to try to figure out, where is Waldo? Now, what if I know where he is, and I tell you, I know where he is. I know. And you say, can you prove it to me? Can I prove to you that I know where Waldo is without enabling you to know where Waldo is? And if you think about it, this is what we're trying to do with location. Can I prove that you were at a certain location without actually knowing who or what was at that location? So there is a way to do this, and it's very simple for me to explain it. It's a delightful puzzle. I would almost like to leave it with you, but I'm going to now reveal the answer. The way that I can show you where Waldo is without letting you know where Waldo is by making a screen twice as big as the book. And in the screen, I cut a hole exactly the size of Waldo, and I show you Waldo. There he is. Now you know that I found him because you're looking at him. There he is. That is indeed him. But you still cannot find him because the book could be here, or the book could be here, or the book could be here, or the book could be here. You don't know. So that is a very simple explanation of zero knowledge, which is only one example about how Platin will enable an industrial proof of location that democratizes mining and the use of cryptocurrency, and yet is privacy preserving.
Great. We have another question from our audience member. Is it going to work only on smartphones or also on like Garmin or TomTom devices like Sports Watch or in-car navigator or something like that?
I'm on a roll. Of course, we want to work on everything, but even working on smartphones means Android and Apple, and it's already that's already a challenge. We are, of course, thinking of the devices you mentioned, TomTom and watches, and IoT in general. We will go one platform at a time, and really here, it's a question of having a clever and strategic go-to-market. And the go-to-market is smartphones, Android and Apple, with an amazing experience that you can see the coins. Show them the coin. We have our proof of concept is really fun. I wish I was in the room with you. We'll open it up and maybe you can see it in the video. But seeing a Bitcoin, or any cryptocurrency, a Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, whatever you like, and taking it with a phone, it changes everything. It's really a way to bring about the promise of this blockchain revolution. Alon and I we were working on blockchain related things for years. We were aware of Bitcoin when it showed up, and we were so excited, like so many people are, about this revolution in how you do cryptography and how you track assets. And it was only when we thought of this idea of doing location that we decided this was the start that we would do. So see if you could show
So
that.
I'm actually going to
move
pick up my laptop and show it to you like this. So we have my smartphone right here. And I'm going to see this 2 Bitcoins that I have right here on the table, right? And as I approach it, I enter the policy, or this white Bible, it's the policy. And I come close. And you can see the value of this coin, 2 Bitcoin right here on the table with us. So that's an example of how that would work using an augmented reality.
Did we make you two?
Were you able to see that?
Yes, we did. We saw it clearly. Okay. We have a follow-up question. Actually, would it be possible to fool Platin by means of flashing smartphones with custom ROMs and or kernels? If yes, what would be the effect on the Platin platform itself?
So security is not a achievement. It is not a noun. For us, security is a verb. Of course, it will be possible to spoof Platin, just like it's possible to go and steal all the money in a bank. Security is a step-by-step process where you raise the cost of the attack to the level that it's not worth it. That's why it's very important to go back to the words I used before and maybe to deepen our understanding. You select the PAL that you need for your business proposition. If you simply are selling ice cream and you almost don't care if somebody's faking where they are, you'll give your ice cream tokens to anyone, then choose a simple PAL. If you're actually putting a Bitcoin down that's worth $10,000, now you need a robust and secure one. We do have security measures to prevent the particular attack that you mentioned. I'll describe it to you, or maybe it's too much.
No, good.
I love this subject. I can go for hours.
Curating the data over a course of months for good.
That's good too. But first of all, when you install the Pocket engages in a protocol to make sure that it understands what it's being installed on. And it can identify if it's a rooted phone or if it was installed on a phone that then was rooted. It does this by a process that we call discovery and serialization. Then that forms a sandbox, and onto that sandbox the PALs arrive. The PALs are also signed. So the PALs also have security mechanisms around them. There is a mechanism of tiers where the Platin ecosystem can understand the trust score that's developing in the device. And as Allon said, and we remind you, there's 3 pillars always. There's the information that the phone reports. That's only one pillar. The second pillar is behavior over time. If your phone had certain behaviors during January and February, and suddenly in March it has different behaviors, we can detect that through our use of the artificial intelligence that we're partnering on. Our partners, by the way, we chose them because they have privacy-preserving artificial intelligence. It's not the artificial intelligence of Google or Amazon or Facebook, where they take all your data to large central servers, and then they can do amazing things with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Zain, our partner, XAIN, has a protocol where they can send the intelligence to the device. They have partnered with major car manufacturers. They send the protocol to the car, and they bring back a result. So the answer is we can prevent that attack, but security is an ongoing game. We call it movable security. And the security models in Platin are made, they can constantly be upgraded. Today is a rooted smartphone. Tomorrow there's quantum computing, okay? We have movable security, and we will grow and raise the bar as needed as time goes on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that technical analysis. But let's talk about something that we all kind of want to hear about, the money, the economical side of it. So my first question would be, which sector could be more interested in using the Platin services, and do you have some pre-agreement for future partnerships?
Yeah, so we are working with a number and talking with a number of enterprise customers in Europe and in Japan for proof of location capabilities around employee locations. So that's important for us to share with you. Some of those companies include major energy companies in Europe and pipeline and infrastructure companies in Japan, as well as supply chain companies in Japan. And the reason why we have this exposure and these discussions in Japan is because, as I mentioned earlier, we were part of a 2-month blockchain accelerator program that was initiated by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. We were there with IOTA and Factum and Gatecoin and a number of other high-profile companies. So we were very honored to have been selected for the Japanese government program in the audience of those other respectable companies. So while we are looking at enterprise solutions for proof of location, we are also going to be building up on the humanitarian airdrop to expose our coin and curating some very interesting applications on top of our own protocol.
Okay, in order to compete on the market, Platin needs funds and visibility. What are the tools and points on which you are working to improve marketing and project promotion?
Good, so that's a good question. We are in the process of partnering with a major blockchain marketing company who's based in Israel. We won't mention the name at this point, but we're going to be signing with them in the coming week. And they've worked on some major ICOs over the past 6 months. Some of them, many of them actually over $100 million. And we are quite confident in the marketing team that we're in the process of establishing these days. And we're really happy with the media exposure, the PR, the marketing, the community management that we're going to be scaling up on.
Sometimes people call us a blue chip startup because the universities we work with are top universities. The professors are leaders in their field. Our law firm is a leading Israeli law firm of international scope. Our accounting firm is one of the big four. And so we took a while to select the team that would bring us to global attention. We're very happy with our choice. If I can just mention they were involved in Bancor, in Kicks, in very large ICOs where they played a leading role. So this team succeeds.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that answer. Next question is going to be the gap between soft and hard cap is quite large. What is possible to implement in case you raise just above the soft cap? And how much is really needed for implementing the two major subjects of your roadmap? For example, the Plexus blockchain and the use of ZK Snarks protocol.
Okay. So the difference between the soft cap and hard cap actually comes, first of all, to represent that we can implement most of our plan, most of our white paper and the yellow paper that we're working on right now to have a very, very secure proof of location blockchain. So the Plexus is going to be implemented even with a soft cap. The zero knowledge proofs will not. That is something that we expect to be able to with double or triple the soft cap, and we believe that we can do it. We've already initiated research around ZK proofs, so we want to be able to accelerate the development of the proof of location protocol that we're working on, and we're confident that we could do that with our soft cap. Our financial plan covers that and emphasizes that. And the reason why we have this gap between the soft and hard is because we want to be able to expand the ecosystem and invest more in the location-based and secure location apps for the community. And we everything from expanding the team to having a much more robust development team, to have hackathons and dev events around the world for proof of location for Platin. And that's why we want to
yeah, if I can just add to that with your permission, Allon's previous major experience was a startup that he founded called XPlace. And there was a two-sided market that he raised almost single-handedly. where you had to have the vendors and the suppliers. So Platin similarly has a multi-sided play, as we've indicated a few times. We need a very strategic go-to-market so that we can energize people to use the product, and we need to energize developers to enjoy using the protocol in the PALs. So the soft cap is basically like a very strategic go-to-market and get the attention. And as we move up to the hard cap, we can energize the marketplace around the PALs and the very significant zero knowledge. And as you see, the technical and secure subjects that we love, but everything strategically needs to move. We need to enable take-up of the product for everything to work. So we're not going to go off into a closet for 6 months and finish our zero knowledge, which, by the way, I'm leading the publication of a paper with the W3C. That is the World Wide Web Consortium. It's an official paper of the Verifiable Credentials Group with Jan Kamenisch, who is a leading cryptographer of decentralized identifiers. I don't mean to say too many technical things, as we've shown you many times. You don't need to be technical to play with Platin. But I'm revealing to you, people who are interested in participating in our private sale, I'm revealing to you that there's very serious work behind this. So I hope that clarifies, and I hope I added a little bit to why we have this range from soft to hard.
Great. We have time for 3 more questions from the chat. The first question is going to be, will Platin technology be able to track position also in closed spaces? If yes, with which precision level?
That's a good question. So initially, we won't be able to track indoor locations at a high accuracy, but we are in talks with one of Sergeant Kapkin's companies called 3DB that does proximity technology and proximity sensors, and we plan on integrating with those. When we have that integration, we will be able to provide an indoor location experience or location tracking experience that will be
of unprecedented accuracy,
extremely compelling to the sub-millimeter level.
And there has never been a secure proximity technology before this one.
And they are working actually on rolling out their 3DB sensors, their proximity sensors, to various types of mobile devices. And so we hope to have those devices actually be part of the Platin ecosystem as well. So not immediately, but it's on the roadmap.
Okay, next question is going to be, it's maybe more like a trivia question. Why did you choose the name Platin? Is it to remember the opulence and no to the technology?
Yeah, so we like the term Platin because platinum, it's based on the precious metal platinum, which is actually used in industry in various from car manufacturing to chemistry and in various types of industrial ways. So it's not only a metal used in jewelry, it's actually used in industry quite extensively. And we were looking for a name that can be pronounced in many languages and is easy to write and short, and the domain was available. So everything came together for us.
And it also evokes place, plaza, platio. So we felt very comfortable with it. And also it's a very strong metal. Metal is strong, and we have a very strong protocol.
It's stronger and more precious than gold. So we're happy with that.
Great. And the last question is going to be, do you already have some agreement or at least contact with some major exchanges for the listing of the Platin token?
We do. We have 2 agreements with exchanges. We can't talk about them right now because we haven't officially announced them on our website, but we will in the coming weeks. These are tier 2 exchanges, but they have tremendous amount of exchange volume for BTC and ETH, and we will be announcing those very shortly. So we have 2.
Yeah, we have 2 tier 2, and the team that we mentioned before, this first-ranked team, has told us it's trivial. It's trivial to get into the tier 1 exchanges. It's just a matter of money.
Yeah. So,
So we have the connections and the on-ramp, and it's just a matter of paying the fee when the time comes.
That's right.
Okay, thank you so much. Our time is unfortunately over. We hope that everybody has enjoyed their time on this webinar, and I will give you the final word to Allon and Lionel for a final salute.
Okay, so thank you very much. It was an honor to have this opportunity to share our questions with you. I'd like to say that some of you have participated in our KYC process. And we have tried to keep up with the pace of incoming KYC requests. We have responded to most of them. If you are interested in participating in the Platin private sale, then please go to platin.io/KYC/BCT for blockchain top. So we know that you are part of the blockchain top community and will receive the bonus that we have agreed upon with blockchain top. And submit your KYC form as soon as possible. We look forward to having you participate and back up this really incredible and exciting project that we're involved in 24/7 for the past year. And please feel free to contact us via the website. We have a contact form there. Send us any questions. You can also send us questions on the Telegram group. To get to the Telegram group, you have the Italian one, which you are all probably already a part of, and the official English Telegram group, which you could get to by going to platin.io/T. Also, please visit our website and our Medium blog, where we continuously share more information and developments about the progress of the Platin project. And please be in touch with us. We'll be happy to continue our dialogue. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
We thank you very much for being here with us, and we also wish you a huge success with your future endeavors and your ICO.
Thank you very much.